What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Morning Brew podcast. This week is a little bit different. I'm actually joined by transgender influencer Dakota Darden, and I had the amazing opportunity to interview him about his experience transitioning from female to male, amongst other fun topics. And this episode is really special to me, and it's very informative and very fun, and I really hope that you learn something and take something away from it. So without further ado, I will stop talking and let Dakota take it away. I hope you enjoy.
Everything was connected properly.
Oh, no, you're so fine. Sorry if my cat's going crazy in the background.
That's fine. Mine's taking a nap right here in her little hammock, so.
Oh, that's so cute. Well, nice to meet you. I'm Kayla. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for inviting me on.
Yeah, so I was thinking we could just start with a little bit about you. So you're in Italy, that's correct?
Yeah.
Is that for school or personal fun?
So, I originally moved here for my girlfriend because she's Italian.
Okay.
And so we were long distance for quite a while, and then I decided that I didn't want to do that anymore, so I was like, why not move to Italy? So yeah, I do currently attend university here, and so that's why I'm able to stay.
Oh, so, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How fun. And what are some of your hobbies, interests?
You have to show me the cat now, because I can hear the cat. I have to see, there's a cat tax,
He will come back. He wears diapers, so
I love that.
Spoiler alert.
Anyways, that's fine. Let's see, hobbies and stuff. I do play guitar. I like to draw. I like to play video games. I work out. I like to run. That's pretty much it. Now that it's sunny outside, I like to lay in the sun. I go to a park and just
nice.
have picnics and stuff. That's fun. So.
Well, that sounds fun. I like to run too. I do half marathons sometimes.
Oh, really?
Off season right now. Not currently, but yeah.
I'm not very skilled at distance running because I never did running for sport or anything like that. I played basketball in high school, but obviously you're not running long distances
right.
in basketball. I only just recently started running further, and I think probably the most I've ever made it is 5K.
Listen, 5K is good.
So, I don't know. We'll see how far I can make it. Maybe one day I'll hit. What's the max? What's something that would absolutely blow your mind if you heard?
Oh, the ultra marathons blow my mind that are 40 miles or something. I've never done that. I have never done that. The farthest I've done is a full, and I almost that was terrible.
Yeah, I don't know if I can make it an ultra marathon yet, but maybe one day.
I feel
we'll set that as a long-term
no
goal.
One needs to run that far.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have a death wish, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, if you want to see the other side briefly, maybe.
Meet God.
Oh my God. God said, this is your challenge. Okay, and then couple fun questions before we get into it. What's your favorite shape of French fry?
Oh, definitely curly fries for sure.
Okay, same. Seasoned or unseasoned?
I guess it depends on the seasoning. If it's a normal fry seasoning, that's fine. But I feel some restaurants, they do too much with it, and it kind of overpowers the fryness of the fry. You know what I mean?
I feel that.
So basic seasoning, max.
How do we feel about Arby's fries?
I love Arby's fries.
Okay.
That's the only reason I would ever go to Arby's.
Okay. That is the correct answer.
But the curly fries are really good, yeah.
You pass. What's the current song you have on repeat?
This one might be a little bit embarrassing, but I've been really into One Direction recently.
Okay,
so.
But that's not embarrassing at all.
my girlfriend is she was, a huge One Direction fan, and so she's been kind of indoctrinating me, and probably the one that I have on repeat right now is their song Wolves. I have that song stuck in my head.
Okay,
so,
okay. Yeah. I fully will do Shower Concert, best song ever.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's the way to go. Okay, so we're gonna get into the good stuff now.
Great.
So,
I was actually really curious when you posted the questions on your story, and I reposted it onto mine. I was really curious to know if you got any questions, because sometimes it's hit or miss. Like, even when I post on my own story, sometimes a ton of people send stuff in, and other times, like, nobody says anything. So.
Yeah, I got one from a person that I don't know, and I got quite a few from my parents.
Great, okay.
Yeah. So I thought let's start with simple definitions so I don't confuse anyone. Are you okay just talking about the difference between what cisgender and what transgender is?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That one's a pretty easy, like, pretty easily definable difference. For people who identify as cisgender, it just means that their gender identity still aligns with the sex that they were assigned at birth. So when you pop out of your mother, your doctor goes, oh my god, it's a boy or it's a girl, and as you grow up, your gender identity never strays from what you were literally assigned at birth. Whereas for transgender people, obviously, transgender, you're changing your gender identity, which basically, in very simple terms, just means you no longer identify or align with the sex that you were assigned at birth.
Yeah,
There's a lot of different like nuances and stuff in there, but that's just like the blanket umbrella definition.
We won't get too complicated. I know sometimes you say, oh, you're cisgender, and they're like, I don't know what that is. And I'm like, okay, well let me explain.
Yeah, it's very easy. I just, and I really don't understand, I don't want to get like off track right away, but I really just don't understand the cis people who say that using cis is a slur, like it's derogatory. It's not a derogatory term, it's just a descriptive term.
I feel like it's a scientific kind of term.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's very like clinical.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so right off the bat, you are transgender.
Yes, yeah,
okay.
Female to male.
How old were you when you kind of knew that you were in the wrong body or that something was different?
I would say from a very young age, I always felt quote-unquote different than other girls. I was always very tomboyish. I have a very distinct core memory moment where I was helping my granddad at a flea market when I was probably around like 6 or 7. I was very young, and it was freezing that day, and I was all bundled up in all this cold weather stuff, and my hair was tucked into a beanie, so I looked like a little boy, basically. And I have this memory of an old lady walking by, and she pointed at me, and she said, "You're such a helpful young man. I'm so proud to see such a helpful young man helping out your granddad." And the joy from hearing somebody mistake me for a boy, that stayed with me my whole life. And so all throughout my, childhood and my teenage years, I was very tomboyish. I was always kind of, I did use makeup, and I would dress a little bit more feminine once I got into high school, mainly due to, peer pressure and pressure from my family and what, I perceived to be, normal.
Right.
In the environments around me, and then I didn't really even know that being transgender was a thing until I got on Tumblr when I was about 15, 16.
This is the way to go.
Yeah, really, Tumblr is the gateway to the outside world. Yeah. So it was through Tumblr and then through some queer and trans short films on YouTube that I kind of discovered what being trans was, or just what being gender nonconforming was, really. One of the videos that I saw at the time was Ruby Rose's, I don't know if it was a commercial or just a documentary thing that she put out herself. But yeah, Ruby Rose posted a video where, originally they're dressed up all feminine, tattoos are all covered up, they're in a dress, stuff like that. And then at the end, she's rinsing off all the makeup, her hair's cut short, all this stuff. And I remember, that really stuck with me. And so I started going by gender queer. I told people that I was gender queer, kind of a little bit more gender fluid around the age of 16. When I was at home, I would be more feminine presenting around my family just because I was scared of the repercussions. But when I was at school, I would ask my friends to still use my dead name, but I would use he, him pronouns and things like that. I would dress more masculine, etc. And I didn't really determine, I guess. I don't like to say discover because it was always, I always knew, but right. I never had the language to define it, you know what I mean?
Sure.
So once I discovered, I guess, that I was transgender and I wanted to transition fully to male, I would say I was around 17 years old.
Okay, so there's a little journey.
Oh yeah, and I have multiple YouTube videos up where I go really in depth about everything that I went through, but it's just for it's just very
right.
step by step, basically.
Yeah, no, I get that. I was very tomboyish as well, and all my friends were like, they knew I was gay before I did. I was like,
Yeah, right. Isn't that crazy that some people know you better than you know yourself?
yeah, I was like, nah, homie, I'm straight. And then, I turned 21 and I'm like, oh, actually, I think I was wrong.
You're like, wait a minute. I think possibly I did that really like cliche thing where I had a big group chat with all my friends and I was texting them and I was like, hey guys, I have a friend who thinks that they might be trans. What would you guys say to them if they were to come out, And they were like so supportive and stuff. And then one of my friends texted and was like, are you talking about yourself?
Oh
And I was
my
like,
God.
no way. But they were like, shut up. Like, if it's about you, like, it's fine. Like, we're gonna love and support you no matter what. So I was very like fortunate in that regard.
Yeah, that's great. I love the immediate call out. Is this you?
Literally, they were like, are you talking about yourself? Like, it's fine if you are, just tell us.
Right. So that brings up kind of the next question. When, and kind of how did you, like, tell your friends, family? Was that, like, did you do, like, the whole big deal, like, coming out thing? Or more of, like, a just, hey, by the way, I'm a boy?
I actually kind of wanted to do like a whole big. I didn't want to make it a big deal, but I wanted it to be impactful,
Sure.
to where they didn't not take me serious.
Right, yeah.
But unfortunately, it didn't really work out that way. So obviously, I came out to my friends first, and like I said, when I was at school or when I was hanging out with them away from family, they would call me Dakota. I had a few other names that I tried out before Dakota, but for the most part, they called me Dakota. They would use he, him pronouns. And I would dress as masculine as I wanted. And then around my family, I think they could kind of tell that like something about me was changing. I started bringing up the fact that I really wanted to cut all my hair off.
Mm-hmm.
And I used the excuse that I wanted to do it for, I think it's called Locks of Love, where people cut all
right,
their hair
yeah.
off and they donate it. Yeah. So I was able to convince my family to let me cut my hair under the guise of using it for Locks of Love. And I remember like a few weeks or so after I cut my hair, I had like an undercut type haircut. And so I was in the bathroom with my dad and I had my head over his sink and he was like touching it up with the clippers,
Mm-hmm.
And he stopped for a second and he was like, did you cut your hair because you want to be a boy? Like out of the blue. We hadn't even been talking before that. We were just like silently cutting my hair. Yeah, and he stopped and he was like, did you cut your hair because you want to be a boy? And I was like, yes. Like I didn't know what to say. This man has literal clippers at my neck.
I know,
like,
maybe not the best time to ask, Dad.
Yeah, so I was like, yes. And he didn't say anything after that. I think he was just kind of like taking it all in. I don't think he really understood like what that meant, like what the gravity of my answer really meant. And so we just kind of went about our day. And then a few days later, I was in the car with my mom. And it was just me and her in the car. And we were arguing about something. I have no clue what. I don't remember. But all of a sudden, I just like busted out crying. And I was like, I want to be your son. Like, I don't want you to call me your daughter anymore. I'm a boy. I want you to call me Dakota. Da-da-da-da. And she did not take it well, like at all. So, yeah, it was a very awkward car ride home. And it was a lot of crying, a lot of tears. I always thought it was kind of ironic because my baby sister and my grandmother actually took it better than my parents did. And my grandmother, if you knew her, she's a very conservative woman. So but she's always been one of my biggest supporters. So I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, my coming out didn't quite go as I wanted it to with my family, but can't go back and change it. So
I feel like it never goes the way that it does in the movies. I see it, I'm like, I want that, and then mine gets blurted out in an argument. I'm like, by the way, also, I like girls.
Yeah, right, like, it's almost like some people, like, you can weaponize it, Well, I'm gay, or I'm trans, and then it's like that shock factor.
I like girls and boys, actually. Yeah, right. And then everyone is like, what? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. And then, so when did you start transitioning? Like, cause you...
Like medically or socially?
Medically.
Okay, one second. This candle is really upsetting me, so I'm gonna blow it out really quick.
Go for it.
It's one of those wood wicks, and it's like... Okay. Sorry. Can you hear me still?
Yeah.
Great, okay. So, yeah, medically transitioning, I started testosterone in October of 2017. So about a month, a little less than a month actually, because my birthday is September 16th. And so once I turned 18, I immediately went to Planned Parenthood, the closest Planned Parenthood in my area. And I did the whole like informed consent thing there because you don't need any therapist or doctor's letters at that clinic to start testosterone. And so I started testosterone on October 8th, I believe, of 2017. Okay. So less than a month after I turned 18, nice. I was like, I'm starting it, I'm going. Yeah. And then my top surgery was in 2019, or 2018. 2018, I think, because I was a year on T.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And what was what was your whole experience with, I feel like I hear a lot about puberty part 2.
There was a lot of stuff that was like unexpected, just because I only had 2 like real life trans friends at that time, and both of them were very early on in their medical transition as well. So we were kind of all experiencing the same changes at the same time. There wasn't really anybody I had who was older than me or like further on in their transition for me to like ask questions about. So a lot of my knowledge was very base level, or I found out stuff through like YouTube channels and things like that. I would say probably the hardest part was right around like the 1 month mark. I started to experience like hot flashes, and I was basically essentially going through menopause, like, you know. Because,
I didn't know that.
yeah. Once you start testosterone, you essentially go through menopause because your testosterone levels skyrocket and your estrogen like plummets.
Oh.
And so I was having hot flashes. I was having phantom cramps, like period cramps, basically. It was horrible, and I remember being so miserable. But once I got over that hurdle, it was nice. It was really interesting. I felt like for a certain time when I was figuring out my dose and my levels and everything like that for my testosterone, I felt like every time I looked in the mirror each day, I saw something new, which was like really cool to see, and it was very like affirming to notice the changes, you know?
Yeah. And was it like weird or scary with like any voice changes, like if you wake up one day and it's just deeper or different?
No, so that was actually one of the like first things that I talked to, because I had like not a specific like assigned nurse at Planned Parenthood, but there was one nurse that was always there when I went, and she was always like taking care of me. And I remember that was one of the biggest like issues that I had, because this is a little bit, you know, cringy to say now, but back in 2017 there was a lot of debate within the transgender community about, you know, having to look or sound a certain way in order to be like validly transgender, I guess. And so in 2017, there was this big movement about how some trans people were easily clockable because they had the trans voice, and it's a very distinct sounding, like, I don't know how to describe it without sounding like a trans medicalist in 2017, but basically there's a distinct, like, if you look it up, there's clips and stuff on YouTube of people using examples. And I remember I went to my nurse and I was like, I don't want to sound like that. I want my transition to be as natural and as long as it takes, I'll do it. As long as it's as natural as possible, that's fine with me. So the way that my dose was at first, my first month I was on 0.1 milliliters a week. And then once I hit my second month mark, it was 0.2. And then third month, it was 0.3, so on and so forth. And then around my fifth month, when I was on 0.5, I actually started to notice more negative changes than positive ones. I was really moody. I had really bad acne. I was having a lot of pain in my uterus. Like, I was feeling very, like, phantom cramps a lot. And I would have kind of, like, spotty bleeding occasionally. And so I went and I got my levels checked, my hormone levels, and they were, like, through the roof. And my nurse was like, we gotta back off. So I went down to, I think it was 0.3 or 0.4, and that was like my stable dose. So that was the only like scary aspect, I guess.
Okay. Well, that sounds painful.
It was. I mean, there are some aspects, obviously, you have to, you know, stab yourself with a needle once a week, which is painful in and of itself if you're like new to it. Now I'm used to it, and so it's just routine at this point. But yeah, in the beginning, there were some aspects of transition that were pretty painful and a bit scary. But thankfully, like I said, I had friends in real life and online that I could relate to, you know. So. Yeah,
that's so good that having the community to understand and help is a big deal.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's really important to have people who are visible in the public eye, because even though, like, especially right now with the state of the media and politics and everything in the United States, it's hard to be a visibly trans person, especially online, because people always feel braver behind a screen than they do in real life. They say a lot more out-of-pocket stuff in my comment section than they ever would say to my face. But the amount of comments I get saying that, you know, my videos or my posts help somebody understand that this aspect of their transition is normal, and they didn't know that, and they were scared at first, but now they feel more at ease about a specific thing. Or someone else's comment will say that my video helped their parents become more accepting of them. Those comments outweigh the hate comments 100%.
Oh,
absolutely.
absolutely.
I think that's very important. It's a very important reason for there to be visibility online.
Absolutely. New video idea. I think you should rank your hate comments on a tier list. I get a lot of those, trust me. Yeah, I think I have enough to where I could make a video out of it for sure. I definitely think this is something you should consider.
Yeah.
And then what was your experience like with the top surgery? How was that?
So top surgery was a little bit more difficult to get than testosterone, just because with top surgery, it's kind of an uphill battle when it comes to like health insurance and things like that. So I'm obviously on my parents' health insurance plan, and the one that they were on at the time, I think it's a different company now, but at the time we were on Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Okay.
Which does not consider any like gender affirming surgeries or gender affirming healthcare to be covered. Like none of that is covered. Heck. You all have to pay it out of pocket. Yeah. And I couldn't even file a claim to like, you know, get some reimbursement afterwards. So that was, you know, kind of a punch in the gut. I did end up having to take out a loan just to cover the cost of surgery. Thankfully, you know, I was able to pay it off, but it was difficult for sure. Finding a surgeon was difficult, especially one with like before and after results posted online. A lot of surgeons don't like to post those online, whether it's out of respect for their patients or just out of fear of their practice being judged for doing transgender surgeries. But I went to Dr. Alan Doolin in Plano. I'm not sure if he's still practicing. I haven't really seen much about people going to him recently, but he was a great surgeon. I thought he was very nice. He was very informative. Literally, the only downside was that it was expensive as hell, and my insurance didn't cover any of it.
That's rude.
Yeah, right? It was so, like, and I remember specifically the email I sent to him. I was like, hey, do you guys take Blue Cross Blue Shield? And he was like, we don't take insurance at all. And I was like, great. Okay, well, that's $6,000 coming out of my pocket, I guess.
Heck.
Yeah. It was really expensive, but the experience was great, and I can definitely say that if I hadn't gotten top surgery when I did, I feel like I would have been in a much worse mental state now that I actually am. Like, if I hadn't gotten top surgery when I did, I probably wouldn't have been here today. Just because, you know, once you've been on testosterone for so long and you start to pass as a cis guy, but you can't go out shirtless, you can't run around, you know, there's just, it's still that aspect, those two aspects, I guess, hanging off of you, literally. Hanging off of you, and like it's like a weight literally lifted
literally
off of
your
a
chest.
Weight. Yes, yeah, exactly. So it definitely improved my quality of life 100%.
Oh,
any struggle that I went through during the process was 1,000% worth it.
Okay, and now you can go, you know, lay in the sun because it's getting warmer. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Shirt off, tattoos out, everything.
As you should. Tattoos out is the way to go. Okay. Are you comfortable talking about packing?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
I told you, I'm like an open book.
Okay.
There's no topic that I won't cover.
Wasn't sure. Okay, can you start by explaining for the listeners what that all entails?
Yeah, absolutely. So packing is it's like the process of creating a bulge in your pants, basically. So for transmasculine people, you want it to appear like you have a package in your pants, you know? You want it to or penis if you prefer the medical term. And so a lot of people will start out with just like taking a pair of socks and kind of balling it up because it's very like moldable, you know? You can make it whatever shape, size you want. So I started out with a pair of socks and a safety pin to my boxers, and that creates like a little bulge. It's just a nice way to start off and kind of get a feel for like how big or small you're comfortable with when it comes to like actual packers. And then there's different types of packers. The most common one that I see transmasculine people using is just a daily soft packer. These are typically made of body-safe silicone, and they're very squishy. Like you can whip them around. They're kind of like stress balls, basically.
Oh my God.
Think that type of material, you know? And yeah, they usually look like real cis penises. They come in a lot of different shapes, sizes, cut, uncut, circumcised or uncircumcised, I guess. The shortest one I've ever seen was like 1.25 inches, and the longest one I've ever seen for a soft packer was probably around 6 inches, which is a little bit unrealistic.
That's
but,
large.
To each their own. To each their own.
Sure.
And then, of course, there are packers where you can use it to pack with during the day, but you can also use it for intercourse, with sex. And there's a bunch of different types. And then there are the type of packers called STPs, so they're stand-to-pee devices, and it's specifically designed to be like a funnel so that you can use it, say, like at a urinal, or instead of sitting down, you could just stand up to pee with it. So I've used pretty much every type of packer out there, and it's hard finding the right one for you. I'm not gonna lie.
I can believe it. I mean, that sounds like, especially the STPs, like, I feel like there might be, like, leakage or...
Oh, that's a huge issue. At least for me, that's why I don't use them anymore, because I could never find one that didn't leak.
Yeah, I am, like, my brain is trying to think about how it would possibly, like, seal properly where it wouldn't.
Well, a lot of companies like to, like, tout that their STPs are designed to fit you perfectly, but everybody's anatomy is different.
Right.
There's no way that it's not one size fits all,
Sure.
So it's really difficult to find an STP that really actually cups your anatomy just the right way. So most of the time what would happen with me is I would buy one and the cup was too shallow in the back.
Okay.
And so unless you, like, focus really hard on controlling your stream, it would just spill out over the edge of the cup because it gets too full, and then you literally peed your pants.
Right, because you're at a urinal.
Yes, exactly. And then, I remember one incident. Oh, this is so embarrassing. One time when I first started using an STP, I was a waiter at the time, and I just ran to the bathroom on, like, a quick break when it was slow at the restaurant, and I was using my STP at the urinal, and I didn't notice until I was finished, but I had leaked a little bit over the back, and I was wearing, like, gray pants, so it was obvious that there was something on my pants. And my dumbass was like, I have to come up with a solution, like, really quick, because I can't just take my pants off and, like, try and dry them manually. So I went to the sink and I splashed water all over myself.
Oh my God.
Like, all over my crotch and my legs, and so that my, like, entire front of my pants was basically soaking wet. And then when I went back out on the floor, people were like, what happened to you? And I was like, the sink in there is, like, busted. Like, it sprayed all over me, and it got water all over me. I don't know what happened. So, yeah. And I think that was the last time that I ever used an STP, was after that.
That's kind of a genius excuse, though.
I had to think quickly, like, what was I supposed to say? I don't know. Thankfully, I had that type of, it was one of those restaurants where servers wear aprons around their waist, so only my coworkers saw the mess. After that, I just put my apron on and nobody really noticed, but it was embarrassing enough just to have to face my coworkers. So,
did they buy it?
I hope so. No one said anything to me, and I was stealth at that job, so I don't think anybody had any reason really to question me, but it was still embarrassing nonetheless.
Oh my God. I feel like everyone's gut instinct would be to try to dry it, so I think it's genius to kind of go the other way, like, man,
I did think about drying it, I was like, maybe if I grab some paper towels or something, but I was like, oh, what if I held it up under the hand dryers,
right,
because that's hot air, but then I would have to, like, literally take my pants off and just be, like, half naked, and I was like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, so, if someone else walked in and you're like, oh, I'm just, just drying my pants.
Sorry, yeah, like, what would you believe more, someone holding their pants under the air dryer and going, sorry, I spilled, like, or I splashed water on myself, or somebody walking out of the bathroom going, oh, I splashed water on myself, like...
Oh my God. Yeah, that's genius.
My most embarrassing story, 100%.
Oh my God. I think I have worse, but they're not related.
My most embarrassing transition-related story.
Okay, that's valid. Yeah, the other ones are for another time. So your girlfriend is cisgender?
Yes, correct.
And so what has it been like with the two of you guys?
Well, with her, I never really had any issues because she's dated trans guys in the past before me, so she was kind of already, like, versed in all of the terminology, and she knew a little bit about like what happens when we start T and stuff like that. So I'm very grateful that she was already well educated, I guess you could say, and she has always been one of my biggest supporters. You know, I've never had any issues with her feeling like she was maybe judging me for any aspect of my transition. She's always been very understanding of like my dysphoria and stuff like that. So I really couldn't ask for a better girlfriend, honestly. She's great.
I love that. And does anyone ever like give you guys shit if they know?
Yeah, no, absolutely they do. It was worse when we first started dating. Not for any particular reason, just I think it was just because it was a new relationship, and when we would post, you know, videos online together, obviously the comments would go a bit crazy. And now people are used to seeing her on my channel in my content and stuff, so it's a little less like exciting, I guess, for everybody. But yeah, when we first started dating, there were a lot of questions, like obviously the basic ones, like how did you guys meet, blah blah blah. But then they would get a little bit more adventurous, and they would be like, how do you guys have sex? Like how are you guys gonna have kids when you get older? Like, do you want kids? Like, how does their family feel about you?
Bold of you to assume.
Oh yeah, yeah. People love to just like jump to conclusions, especially when it comes to my personal relationships.
Yeah, that's the worst. And like assuming the kids thing is so interesting. I was just at the store.
I don't really even want kids.
Me either. I was just at the store and I walked past. I was getting pads, but there were pregnancy tests, and the way it tells you is with either a smiley face or a sad face. And I was like, wow. Well, that's very like objective. Like,
what if to me being pregnant would be the sad face?
Yeah,
and not being pregnant would be the happy face. Like,
that's how I would feel. I'd be like, oh, thank gosh, I'm not pregnant. But
right.
I told my mom about it, and she's like, wait, that's gonna confuse some people, because what if it's a happy face and they think it means not pregnant, and then they like go out and they're like, let's celebrate and get champagne or something.
Oh my god, can you imagine? Now that's just bad marketing on that company's part.
Yeah, I was like, I sure hope it comes with instructions, but also, if they're anything like me, I don't read instructions. I just...
Oh, true, yeah.
I'm the person that just presses buttons or something until it works, and I'm like, okay.
I mean, it's just... A pregnancy test, you would think, is, like, straightforward enough, but for something like that, I would definitely recommend at least checking the box, you know?
At least look for the key that tells you what the answers mean.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I will jump into the Q&A, the fun questions. So one of them was, how do you feel about the, like, quote-unquote trend of kids transitioning or making the transition at a younger age?
Well, first of all, I don't really agree with calling it a trend, because trans kids have always existed. I was trans when I was a kid. Even though I didn't have the language to describe the fact that I was trans, I still was. So personally, I think that this trend is great. Kids nowadays have the exposure, they have the vocabulary to express themselves in a way that I never did, and certainly trans people who are much older than me absolutely would never have been able to express themselves unless they came from a very welcoming environment, which, good for them, you know? But that's not the norm, I guess. So I personally am a big fan of allowing kids to... I don't like just saying transition, because I feel like that gets misconstrued a lot in the media, especially when conservative and right-wing media gets a hold of stories like this, because they always want to immediately jump in and say, you're medicating our kids, you're mutilating our kids. It's not like that at all. If a child comes to me at 5, 6 years old and is like, I think I'm a girl or I think I'm a boy, whereas, you know, when they were born, they were assigned the opposite, I'm not immediately going to take them to get top surgery or bottom surgery, or I'm not going to immediately take them and give them hormone replacement therapy. They're children. I'm going to tell them, that's great that you came to me and you told me that. We'll go out and buy you different clothes. We'll cut your hair or let you grow your hair out, whatever. But when kids are transgender, it's a social thing. It's not a medical thing. So, yeah, if a kid wants to express themselves differently, great. By all means, I will allow them to. You know, if it was me as the parent, I'm not going to say, like, a stranger's kid, I'm allowing a stranger's child to transition. No, in the sense of, like, if I were to be a parent in that situation, of course I would let my kid express themselves however they felt comfortable. And if at a future time they change their mind, fine. If they're old enough to start puberty blockers when they come out as trans, great. Puberty blockers are completely 100% reversible. So, you know, I would let them express themselves. And I think it's great that kids nowadays have that opportunity.
I agree. I think giving them, like, a safe space to kind of explore and grow and see what feels right for them, regardless of what it is a good thing.
Yeah, 100%. It's just, and, you know, like I said, it's just very frustrating seeing people take the idea of a child expressing themselves and turn it into something so wicked and twisted and make it seem like the trans agenda is corrupting our youth. Like, no, we're not. If anything, it's you guys who are corrupting our youth and making them feel not as worthy, I guess, as cis kids just because they want to be different, I guess.
Right, like gendering, like, the toy aisles and,
100%,
you know, makes it harder for guys to get, I don't know, like, dolls if that's what they want, or...
Yeah. Or
you know.
Even if it is easy to just, like, walk down the toy aisle at, like, I don't know, Target and pick out a Barbie doll for your son, the moment somebody sees your son playing with a Barbie doll, then it's kind of like, for whatever reason, somebody might say something, or, you know, your kid might notice he gets weird looks from classmates, and so he stops, and it's just... it's very much a societal problem, I think.
I definitely think so. Another question... What are your thoughts on what I'm going to refer to as, like, bathroom segregation? Like, in terms of, you know, like, I think the gender-neutral ones are awesome. But specifically in reference to, like, if you were to go into, like, the guy's restroom as a transgender male versus the women's restroom.
Right. I mean, this one is a bit of a difficult question because I've kind of experienced both sides. Since I transitioned before I graduated high school, I was a trans guy going into the boys' restroom, and it got me in trouble with the school administration a couple times.
Okay.
But then when I would go into the women's restroom, whether it was at school or there were a few times where I went into the women's restroom for whatever reason, out in public, just because I didn't feel safe enough going into the men's room, I would get weird looks from the girls in there, and they would say, "You're in the wrong restroom." Like, you know, there was even one time before I had even socially transitioned, I had only cut my hair. I was at a basketball tournament, and I went into the women's restroom, and the girls physically pushed me out and said, "You're in the wrong restroom."
Oh my gosh.
That's why I don't agree with people who say that trans people should use the bathroom of the gender they were assigned at birth. Because it's ridiculous. Looking at me now, I'm almost 5 years on testosterone. Yeah. I have facial hair. I have a very deep voice. I look and pass as a cis man. If you saw me walk into the locker room at the gym, if you saw me walk into the bathroom at the movie theater, it would freak you out. You'd be like, why is there a man in the bathroom with you or in the locker room with you right now? It's just weird and what's the right word? It's just not realistic in my mind.
Right.
You know, it feels like they're just seeking to create problems out of nothing. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know that a person is trans. I don't like when people say, "We can always tell," because you can't.
That's a lie.
I guarantee you cannot.
If I didn't know, I could not tell.
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. Like, you just don't know. You never know. And so I think it's ridiculous to ask somebody who looks and passes 100% to go to the bathroom of the opposite gender. It's stupid. Obviously, gender-neutral bathrooms would be great, but those come with their own problems as well. So
I think it's so wild that gender-neutral bathrooms are causing issues when, like, is that not literally what a family restroom is at, like, Target? It's this.
Yeah.
It's just called a different thing, but it's the same thing. There's a urinal, there's a toilet, and there's a changing table. It's the same
when
thing.
You go to the bathroom on an airplane, what is that? It's a gender-neutral bathroom.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's such a ridiculous argument. Okay, like, I have my own issues with gender-neutral bathrooms solely because if there were to be any sort of predatory people, whether they're transgender or not, a gender-neutral bathroom is like a playground for them, you know? But it has nothing to do with trans people in general. It's mostly going to be a cis people who are predatory like that, specifically cis men, but it's a different conversation for a different time. So I fully support gender-neutral bathrooms 100%. I think I'm more in favor of those like single-stall bathrooms like the ones you said at Target, where it's like a family bathroom. It's just one big bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm more in favor of those than like a communal bathroom for everybody to use.
Yeah, that I've seen one of those, and it made me a little bit nervous.
Yeah, I don't remember where I was, but I've seen a big communal, like, gender-neutral bathroom, and I immediately just went to the men's room, because I was like,
yeah, I was like, no, thank you. I think I was at a concert, actually, is where I think I was. And it wasn't even that I thought anyone was going to do anything. It was like, I just don't want to, like, pee in front of a man.
Yeah, like, it's
weird.
It comes down to personal preference, you know? If you feel comfortable enough to go into a big communal bathroom, good on you. I personally do not.
I could never. Yeah, well, okay, so that kind of goes into the second half of that question. So there's a lot of concerns about, like, predators using the, like, alias of, oh, well, I'm transgender, and, you know, trying to get in. So what are your thoughts on that?
Obviously, I can understand where the concern is coming from, because everybody should be concerned about predatory behavior. Whether you're cisgender, transgender, doesn't matter. You know, we should always be looking out for the good of our community. You know, people around us, we should always try to make a safe space for anybody. I will say, however, the only predatory behavior I have ever seen is from cis people. The only predatory behavior I have ever taken note of is from specifically cisgender men. There was specifically one time where I was on Twitter. This guy, he's very, very famous. I can't think of his name because it's not important enough to me to know his name. But he's very famous in, like, conservative right-wing media. And he has recently become infatuated with the fact that there are trans women on lesbian dating apps. Because to him, trans women are just men in makeup. So he's like, why are you on a lesbian dating app? That's
rude.
So he posted on Twitter publicly, like, he's not ashamed of this at all.
Oh,
and he made an account on several lesbian dating apps, and he uses that account.
Oh, no.
No, I'm true, and you can look this up. He has literal multiple accounts on multiple lesbian dating apps where he claims to be a transgender woman on that account or on those accounts, and he uses it to screenshot obviously trans or, like, predatory people on those apps, and then he posts their profiles on his Twitter account to, like, hundreds of thousands of followers.
That's so problematic on so many different levels.
Yes, and he's cisgender. I have never once seen a trans person cosplay, I guess, as cisgender.
Right.
And use their space in a dating app to basically mock other cis people on that app. Like, that's absolutely unheard of. Like, that's a horrible thing to do.
Yeah, I don't think I've once heard of a trans person weaponizing the fact that they're trans for any kind of anything.
No, it's just so, and it's so funny when they say, I'm using they as, like, a blanket term for, you know, conservatives and transphobic people and things like that, but it's very funny and ironic to me when they say, like we talked about earlier, we can always tell, because half of the time when you go on Twitter, they're posting pictures of cis people and saying, oh my god, you're obviously not a female, or you're obviously not a male. I think it's, their newest target recently is Daniel Radcliffe's girlfriend, I believe, or maybe it's his wife, I'm not sure if they're married. She's a cis woman, and she's pregnant with their child.
Yes.
And everybody on Twitter, sorry, not everybody, but a lot of conservative people on Twitter are attacking her and saying that she's obviously not biologically female.
What?
When she's literally pregnant with their child. Like, what is it? They're not, you know.
Why is that any of their business anyways?
I don't know. That's my point, though, is that they insert themselves in everybody's business, no matter whether you're cis or trans, and they call us the predatory ones. You know what I mean?
Right. I feel like a lot of the times it's like just wanting to exist, like who has the time and effort to be a predator anyways.
Yeah, right. Like, I'm literally spending majority of my energy just trying to survive.
Right.
Like, day to day, trying to make sure that I am not putting myself in any danger.
Yeah.
And yet you guys are out here saying that I'm the one attacking y'all's way of life. Like, it's unheard of.
Yeah, that's wild. So, I'm like, which direction do I want to go? Okay, one of the other questions was, what are your thoughts on the use of the word queer as a slur by non-LGBTQ plus allies, which I haven't actually heard recently, but also I'm like not super active online.
Oh, well, I had a actual conversation with my mom about this a while ago, because I call myself queer.
I do
I've
too.
I've never openly really came out about my sexuality the way that I did with my gender identity, but I am bisexual. But when I tell, people, I just say I'm queer. It's just easier. It takes less time to explain everything. And one time I was talking to my mom, and I told her, like, I'm queer, and she was like, you can't say that. And I was like, what? What can't I say? And she was like, you can't say queer. That's mean. Like, that's a slur. That's derogatory. And I was like, I am queer. Like, first of all, if it was a slur, I am a part of that community, so I can reclaim it. And second of all, it's not a slur, I guess, anymore, I should say. So I don't really see it as a negative thing. If someone were to say, you're a queer, I'd be like, yeah, like,
facts.
What do you want from me? Exactly.
Tell me something I don't know.
Yeah, right? Like, that's one of my favorite things to say when people try to insult me online, just because, like, they use the same insults over and over. It's just like, tell me something that I didn't hear in the middle school locker rooms. Like, come up with something more original.
I really think we need to do, like, a ranking your hate comments, because
I honestly should. I gotta go through and find the worst
I
ones.
think it would be really funny.
Honestly, yeah, it would be, because some of the stuff that people say is just ridiculous.
A lot of it, I feel, makes no sense ever, and I'm like, okay.
A lot of it is obvious that they don't really know what they're talking about. They're just angry to be angry at something,
The best reasoning for being angry, honestly.
100%, yeah. If you're just so miserable, you have to be angry at something, fine.
Okay, you could take it out on me, but I'm gonna roast you in a YouTube video.
Yeah, right. I will publicly blast you for being a dumbass.
Yeah. Okay, are you into Harry Potter?
I was, but I am.
This is the way. Okay, so we're leading into the question. Okay, because I was also like biggest Harry Potter nerd, but now I'm like, why are we feeding money into this? So the question at hand is, for folks who don't know, like, what are your thoughts on everything that J.K. Rowling has kind of come out with recently?
She's done a lot recently. Like, I can't pinpoint a specific thing.
The essay, the tweets.
Yeah, no, everything about it. Her new game, where, like, the whole point of the game is to stop the Goblin Uprising, but goblins are just a metaphor for Jewish people.
I heard about this. Oh my god. Okay.
Sticking to her crimes against transgender people, not Jewish people or anything like that. But her crimes against transgender people are just innumerable, and like, it really hurt when I first started seeing all this stuff come out, because like as a kid, I remember reading Harry Potter for the first time and I loved it. I had 2 of the box sets of the series, and I had Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. I had all of the like textbooks, from Hogwarts. I was very much into the escapism that the series gave to me, like the ability to kind of disappear into this world and imagine myself as a young boy at Hogwarts, rather than being a young girl in Texas stuck in a conservative environment. And so seeing all of the stuff that she came out with, it's been really hard, but at this point it's just overkill. Like, at this point she's just doing it just because she knows it gets her attention, and I really can't excuse anybody supporting her in any way. I remember, when what's it called, Hogwarts Legacy, that video game? Yeah, when that started coming out, trans people were, like, begging people not to play the game. You could not even to pirate it. Like, don't even pirate it, don't even talk about it. And people were treating us like we were crazy, because they were like, well, at the end of the day, she's going to get money from it anyways. There's always going to be somebody playing it anyways. I don't know. It's really frustrating having something that was so dear to you as a kid be ripped away from you.
Right, it's like, you were using it for escapism, but it's no longer like a safe place, kind of.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. No, that's the perfect way to put it. It's no longer a safe place, where at one point it was my only safe place,
Yeah, that's very unfortunate that that's how it is.
Yeah.
And
the ironic part is that the Golden Trio, sorry, I didn't mean to speak over.
Oh, no, go for it.
But the ironic part is that her Golden Trio, like Rupert Grant, Emma Watson, and Daniel Radcliffe have all come out and spoken against her and said, no, we support the LGBTQ community. We support trans people. Daniel Radcliffe has, I don't know if it's a series or if he just did like a short mockumentary with a massive group of trans people.
I saw
that.
Yeah, that's great.
I hope that she cries about that, or at least I hope that she thinks about it 24/7. Like, I hope that was the biggest kick in the gut for her, because it's so obvious that the people that she used to further her own success are no longer wanting to associate with her, and I think that that's the biggest, like, middle finger that she could possibly get.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's the same thing that I was going to say, is I'm so glad that the cast and crew are, speaking out against it and against her. And, like, it goes so much further than the trio, too, which is nice. Like, I think Eddie Redmayne as well.
Yes,
and I was like, said, nice.
Yeah, Eddie Redmayne, he did a statement a while ago before all the J.K. Rowling drama started, but he was in that movie...
The Danish Girl. I know what you're talking about. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
and where he played a trans woman, and he did obviously get some backlash for that, but he spoke out very eloquently. He was very supportive of the community, and so I'm very grateful for him. I don't really like him as an actor, per se, but that's a personal preference. It has nothing to do with his politics.
Right. That's just preference. That's fine. Yeah. I don't like Adam Sandler, but, that's...
I'm waiting for the day that something comes out about Adam Sandler, honestly, but he just gives me that vibe.
Yeah, I feel it. I mean, I feel like I waited a while for Shia content, and all of a sudden we have Shia content, so...
Oh, yeah. An abundance of it.
Yeah. Okay, well, do you have any closing remarks, like tips for any listeners that might be, thinking that maybe they're trans or having any fear about coming out with that kind of thing?
I feel like in today's political climate, it can be very intimidating. Learning something about yourself goes against what society deems as normal. Like, that can be a very damaging discovery to make about yourself. And if there's anybody who's listening and is feeling confused or is feeling hopeless, I do want you to know that there is a community out there for you. There are people out there who are going through or who have been through the same stuff, if not very similar stuff to what you're experiencing right now. There is help out there. Like, I don't want trans youth or queer youth to give up. Stonewall was a riot for a reason, and I feel like some people really forget that. Like, we can fight, and we're supposed to. I really, I can't do much as I'm here in Italy, but back in the States, you have to fight. Like, that's the only way that we'll get through this. So don't give up. You will find community, and you will find your chosen family, So, and if you ever need anything, obviously my Instagram, my YouTube is a safe space. Even my TikTok, even though my TikTok is a little bit weird, but it's got a little bit of different content, I guess, you would see on my Instagram or my YouTube. But there's a massive community there. You will find no shortage of support on my pages. You can always come into, my direct messages or anything like that, and I will do my best to give you advice or to help you out.
Yes, I'm gonna plug all of Dakota's account, so everybody go.
But not even me. There's
go hang out
a
with
whole
Dakota.
World of people out there.
Yes. Well, I'm in Texas now, so I will do fighting for you. I'll use these two fists.
Perfect. No, it helps anybody. Like, anything helps. It doesn't have to be. It shouldn't actually. I should not say it doesn't have to, because it should not be only trans people fighting for trans rights. Like, if you are a part of the LGBTQ plus community, if you are just cis, if you're just an ally, you should still be fighting. There's no reason for you to just be cheering on the sidelines. If you're a real ally, you should be out there on the front lines helping us.
Right. Okay, I lied. That was going to be the last question. How can people be better allies to the trans community?
Ooh. A lot of stuff that I've seen recently, and I've been guilty of this at some points as well, just, with how busy I am, working and going to school and stuff. I've noticed a lot of my cis friends and my heterosexual friends and stuff like that, just posting these like informational flyers on their Instagram stories, or posting pictures of them holding up a pride flag or something like that, and they're talking about, oh, I'm an ally, oh, trans rights or human rights. Okay, fine, thank you for posting that, but what are you doing? I guess the message that people really need to take away is actions speak louder than words. Mm-hmm. You can preach to the high heavens, until the cows come home, whatever you want to say about how, trans rights or human rights, queer people deserve human rights. That's basic knowledge. But at the end of the day, if you're not out there protesting, if you're not out there correcting people who, people in your family who are, bashing queer people or something like that, if you're not correcting them and you're just kind of like saying, oh, they're too old to understand, or, oh, why should I pick a fight about it? Pick the fight. Like, don't just sit there and let people walk all over us. If you're an ally, and if you actually believe in the rights of queer people, you should stand up for us when we're not there.
Right.
I hope that made sense.
No, that definitely, it's like, they talk about like active versus passive bystanders. I feel like,
yes, exactly, yeah.
Right. Instead of being like, oh, good for them, like on Facebook or something, it's like, well, come help, do something.
Yeah, if you notice that somebody is organizing a protest or somebody is organizing a fundraising event, even if you can't donate to that fundraising event, you should still be sharing it on your accounts. You should still be telling people who are in a better financial position than you to donate even $1, stuff like that. And again, the biggest one is correct people when they're spreading misinformation or when they're spreading bigotry or hate. Don't let them get away with that, because in my experience, a lot of times the people who are spreading misinformation or who are bullying queer people online or in real life, they only continue to do it because nobody has told them, shut the up. They're only continuing to do it because nobody has stood up to them before. But the instant that you say, that's not okay, you shouldn't say that, they cower back and they say, oh, well, that's just da-da-da. So a lot of the times it only takes one person to tell them to shut the up, and they'll shut the up. Pardon my French, but
I mean, listen, that's how it has to be sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with how volatile, the politics and everything is right now. At this point, you got to be a little violent.
Yeah, at least verbally to start.
Yes, 100%. I'm not condoning physical violence. I'm not saying go out there and beat the shit out of TERFs. I mean, you can, but I'm not condoning it.
Exactly. Well, Dakota, thank you so much. This has been so informative and fun, getting to know you and getting to know your experience and your story. So I really appreciate you joining with me.
Yeah, no worries. I was really excited about it. I haven't done like a podcast episode since my own podcast, so I was very excited to be here.
Hey, listen, I'm always looking for podcast guests, so if you want to come back and rank hate comments, I'm all for it.
Absolutely. You have my email, so we're there.
Nice.
We got this.
All right, well, I'll let you go because it's like dinner time about for you, I think.
Oh, it's actually quite early. We eat dinner here very late.
Oh, then never mind. I'll give you the rest of your evening back, though. Thanks again so much.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
That's all for this week's episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again to Dakota for coming on the podcast. Be sure to check out the description. I'm going to be linking all of his socials so you can go give him a follow. As always, share this podcast with a friend, and be sure to tune in next week when me and Maddie talk about our recent trip to Chicago and all things about the Maya Hawke concert. Talk to you next week.